music producers. It's Curtis King, CurtisKingBeats.com, and as you know, this is another episode of What Do Rappers Want? We've been doing many videos within the channel, really trying to understand what is it that your potential customers want, and I thought it was a great opportunity to continue to interview folks that have been very supportive of mine, customers, but I look at them more than just customers. I look at it as folks that are investing within my brand, folks who are definitely out-of-the-box thinkers. My friend here, Impact Lincoln, is no different. This is someone who has been definitely supportive of the Curtis King brand, of Curtis King Productions, and beyond just investing, he's somebody that stands out to me from a promotional end, in that, you know, I get a lot of artists and recording artists that buy my beats, and then they'll just kind of shove the same link down the same pipeline. But you found a way to push a song that I produced for you that you called Tolerance. And you were doing like live footage. You were having like, you know, behind the scenes of the behind the scenes of the behind the scenes of the music video. And you found ways to create content. But before we get into all that, please introduce to the people who you are and where you're from and what it is that you do.
No doubt. No, yo. And like I said, I mean, you know, as we spoke before, thank you so much for this opportunity. You know, I'm really privileged to be on this right here and have this opportunity, this platform, you know. I go by Impact Lincoln. That's my rap name, Impact Lincoln. That's what I go by. That's what everybody's been calling me for years, you know. I'm 27 now, and I've been making music since I was 14. So that's like a good amount of years. I've been following you for a while now. I mean, over 5 years, I gotta say. And I just really appreciate the time that you take on each beat that you make. I feel that, you know, yeah, man, I just feel like you really spend your time on each sound and each beat pattern, and, you know, the pieces you hear that you spend the time on them, and you make the content really rich, you make the beats really rich, and that's something that I'm all about when it comes to music, is making something that's timeless, that, you know, you can hear today, and in 5 years you hear it back, and it gets even sweeter, it gets even richer, you know, and yeah, man, I feel like you provide that architectural, you know, that house that you built for the artist, super dope. Very, very open space to work from. You can literally take, you know, the instrumentals you make to any direction, you know, and that's something that I love. It's very challenging, you know, and there's growth as a creative. So I'm from Miami, Florida. I found Curtis King through SoundClick one time. You know, I was younger, my younger rap days. I was just looking through SoundClick, right?
SoundClick, yeah. SoundClick.
SoundClick, and I was looking through, and I don't remember what was the first beat that I got, because I've gotten so many. Like, I do remember finding you through there, but then I went to your actual site, and like it was just a different presentation from the SoundClick. Obviously, you know, the SoundClick is pretty standard and it spread out. And when I was first starting out and rapping, I'm sorry if I'm like rambling on.
No, you're good. You're good. You talking to the Ramble King. So I don't see it as rambling. Maybe the audience does, but they're used to me. You know, oversaying my piece. But no, it's crazy because you're already transitioning to some of my first questions that I had for you.
Cool.
Because one of the first ones I had was that, you know, how did you come across my beats? Because I think there's a lot of producers that, you know, they're trying to figure out where they should promote their beats. How do recording artists, how do rappers find their beats? And you said SoundClick, and a lot of producers who are not on SoundClick are under the impression that it's dead and that people are not looking, you know, for beats there. But what kind of places do you go looking for beats when you're actually searching for it? Like, what are some places that you actually look?
Yeah, no, definitely online. I would go through SoundClick, YouTube. There's another site, Track Train. There's another site on there. I found these sites through the years, you know, and I also try to work with local people out here, you know, in Florida as well.
Right.
And that came with, because when I first started out, like, I didn't really have many friends that made beats, or I didn't have any friends. Like, I got one friend, goes by King Docious. He makes a lot of beats for me, but other than that, I just didn't have a lot of connects at the time. So my go-to place was to go online, you know, like that's what we had, the internet. So I did go to SoundClick, Track Train, all those YouTube, but heavy on SoundClick. I was heavy on SoundClick when I first started out. And, you know, just looking up the genres and seeing what kind of space I needed to be in, you know, or whatever I was feeling.
Okay, and okay, so you got me excited because now I got like four questions that popped in my head.
Dope.
But the first question is this: what generally are you searching for as you're searching through like a sound click? Are you looking for some such and such type beats, or are you looking for something a little bit more specific?
When I'm searching, like I usually first off of like what I feel, like how I'm feeling, how the beats make me feel. Like,
Right.
Tolerance is a more like dark trap,
Right.
whereas this last song I did, Course of Love, which I think you had it titled under Palm Resort,
Yeah.
was a more yeah, that one was like a more upbeat and like sweet sound, and like that was just the stage I was in, a stage of love, with my new daughter, and like it was just a space that I was in, so I was
And
able to really
congratulations,
connect.
by the way, man. Father to
Thank you,
father,
man.
congratulations.
Congratulations, man. Yeah,
Thank
it's a
you.
blessing,
Thank you.
and
So,
it's motivating.
yeah,
Go
well,
ahead.
it is. I was gonna add to that. I wasn't necessarily, because that's gonna be the second question. I don't want you to get too
For
much
sure.
deep into that one, but the first one was really, when you're saying, okay, I need this type of vibe.
Okay.
Are you randomly searching, or are you searching like using sometimes like a type? Do you ever use like a type beat search?
Yeah, I will say that I have. I've done like maybe Kendrick type, Travis Scott type,
Okay.
Kanye West. Like despite the social issues and stuff like that, I'm a huge fan of Kanye West. So like just beats like that, that are just really like, I don't know, like that have either soul in them with some trap, and
Right.
it's just based off of what I feel like. And but yeah, I've searched type beats for sure.
Type beats.
For
Okay.
sure, yeah.
So when you're listening to a beat that maybe it was the title, maybe it was the where you found the beat.
Yeah.
What types of things you personally? What types of things musically stand out to you? Like what do you feel like is like your ultimate playground as an artist? What kind of beats do you like to rap over? Or what?
Okay, well,
I'm sorry. That was two questions. It should have been one question. Basically, what stands out for you as you're listening to a beat? Like what makes you say that's the one I gotta have it?
okay. I would say how I don't want to say different, like just how original something is. Something that just stands alone. Like you hear it and you're just like, damn, this is so different. Like with Tolerance, like I gotta say with Tolerance, which I remember it just had like, it was trap. It had like the mainstream trap, yeah. But
Right.
there was just that sound, the yin, yin, like
Yeah.
it's like I think a violin or some shit that you have there.
It was like some distorted violin, honestly.
Right.
And I had
distorted,
yeah.
a distorted violin. You see, that's something that's just like
Ah.
the ingredients. They got to be like original like that. I love that. I love
Right.
that originality.
I,
So yeah.
I'm about to say I always felt like that's what made like the perfect dessert is when you have
Yeah.
something that's like familiar, but then you add like a twist to it. Like imagine the first person
There you
that
go.
ever put sprinkles on ice cream. He was like,
Yeah.
"Yo, I'm about to sprinkle this up." They're like, "I don't know about that, man. That looks a little bit weird." And then
Yeah.
it was like, "Yo, this is kind of bomb." So I try to put that into my production is that there's always like one instrument or maybe a style of playing an instrument that you haven't heard before, or at least it's not the most, how do I put it? I don't want to say the most mainstream, but it's not the most popular way or popular
Okay,
instrument.
yeah.
So it's interesting that you say that. Let's get to some pain points because I think that you definitely
Okay.
are giving a lot of great information because this helps producers who feel like, okay, I don't know what my beats are sounding like. I don't know how to,
Okay.
but let's get to some of the pain points. What would you say are some things that producers have done from a customer service basis that has really just irritated you or made the process really difficult?
Well, one thing that I really appreciate about any producer that I work with on a consistent basis is communication is super on point. There's a lot of respect. Like there's a lot. The responses are in a timely manner. Definitely that. Like I need to be able to communicate because you never know. When you want the beat for something, or you got to prepare, or you're trying to put something together, and despite status or whatever, I appreciate producers that treat each customer as they're their only one in a way,
Right.
even though they're not, and every rapper knows that as well. So I respect that, but I definitely have experienced times where I'll reach out to a producer and I'll be like, I need the splits, I need the track outs, and then they'll just ignore, and then
Ah,
I never hear from them after you paid for it and
yeah,
everything.
yeah.
So communication, or maybe a producer that you'll message, and it'll be months before they would even ever respond.
Wow.
So those are the bad ones, and and then you have the good ones. The ones that like respond to you, that are respectful.
Right.
Personal, and make that connection. This is all about connection, like this music thing. So
Absolutely.
I feel like that's important, super important.
So you mentioned a little bit about it, and I want to kind of get a little bit deeper into what you just said. But you were saying that rappers are under the impression that they know other rappers are using these beats. So you being someone who
Yeah,
has that friend of yours that's local, that's with you, that you can cook up with, what makes the
right.
world of leasing beats even appealing to you? Why do you find it appealing? Why have you, why do you think you found yourself to be a customer there?
Okay. My thing is variety. I love variety. It's just like you hear different artists, like Nas. Maybe he'll do an album. I mean, not only Nas, like Nas, Jay,
Hmm.
Kendrick. They don't work with. I'm looking at the greats. These are the greats in my eyes. And who I look up to and stuff. So I see like Kendrick. Different artists work with different producers
Right.
to have that variety, like you said, cooking up. So you got all these ingredients, and they're all different. They're all paprika, hot sauce, whatever.
Sure,
You
sure.
feel me? So that's just the vibe, like that I like. I just like to have variety. So I will go online, and I am gonna try to work with people locally or around me,
Hmm.
or whatever inspires me. Like even if I'm on YouTube, and maybe I'll have a beat remade or some, things like that. Like
Right.
so, variety.
Right. And so the variety is there. You have access to all these different styles of music, and I've
Yeah,
always wondered that question because I came up as a artist first and then as a producer second. So I never
yeah.
really got to experience what it was like to go find beats and shop for them. But I imagine it's
Like you made your own
yeah,
beats.
yeah, because I always made my own beats. But
Dope, dope.
and you know what?
Like nonchalant.
Sometimes that was and not even like trying to stunt it. Not even trying to stunt. Like that was a good thing and a bad thing because like one of my favorite rappers, J. Cole. Sometimes I don't
Right.
like when he raps on his own beats. Sometimes, right? Sometimes
Okay,
the beats
okay.
are like a little bit too minimal because I feel like he
All
already
right.
knows what he wants to do with it, right? And so
Right, the space.
like,
Okay.
like he'll like play just enough, and then he's like, I want to rap. I don't even want to finish this beat. I want to rap, and that's what it sounds like sometimes.
That makes sense.
So like that's been like my only issue sometimes with the production and the older production from J. Cole. All his newer stuff, which I'm sure he has a hand in, it's just spectacular, and I think it's amazing. Those are the pain points. Producers, you see, this is the second artist that has said the communication is a major issue. This is something that you cannot sleep on. It's just something that is your top priority because these are the folks that are supporting your livelihood. Are you ever concerned about other artists and what they're doing with the particular music that you're leasing, or do you have it in your mind like, if I like it a lot, I'm just gonna go get it exclusively? Like, what is sort of your
Yeah.
mind frame when it comes to that?
No, definitely. Yeah, when I really like a beat, and I'm very into ownership. Like, ownership is super important for me. Like, for anybody trying to come up in this country, like that should be important. Trying to own whatever you use, ultimately, and sharing ownership, of course, and spreading the wealth. Like that's what I feel like is super important. So when I really like something that I feel like is super timeless, and that when I'm super old, I can just like even look back and hear it, or when I die, that will live on. I feel like it's super important to get exclusives in that sense. Or if just a song is doing that you leased is doing really well for you,
Hmm.
like maybe that's going to be something, of course, that you will want to get exclusives and take part in ownership in that, because you're owning what you created, what you did, what you collaborated, I should say, into creation. At least beats a lot as well to just really test out what I want to do. And not everything you're gonna move on with at
Right.
times. I try to never give up on a beat. Any beat that I work with, I try to like really give my all to make sure that it does eventually do become something. You know based off of the feeling what really sets you off, and what you think is like, oh, this is pretty cool. Like there's songs that I've done that like I maybe won't feel like are all that great, and then everybody just like loves, you know.
Right.
So it's like it's
It's the
things
same
like
thing
that.
with my
Like you
beats.
do want to
I
have
have beats that
right,
I like it, but it's not my best. And folks are like, yo, that's the
right,
one. That's the one.
yeah. So everybody has a different taste palette,
Sure.
right? So I mean, definitely like I think that's what's great about leasing because you don't have to pay whatever the greater amounts, of course, for
Hmm.
ownership. For multiple beats, you can grab 5 beats, like for an affordable price, test it out, and whichever one that you feel is like the one that you really enjoy and that you want to take ownership in, you can get. And I mean, it's an opportunity. And what I love right now too is like with the whole streaming world, how leasing has transitioned over to
Yeah.
that. Is super dope because it just opens those gates and puts out more opportunity to just really play with different beats
Right.
and then go all in on the one that you
One that
feel
you
strong
believe
with.
in. Okay. Well, man,
Exactly.
you've been supremely informative. I got three more questions for you, and we're gonna go ahead and wrap
For
it up.
sure.
But thank you, man, for I
All
gotta
right.
just say, aside from everything else, thank you for being such a consistent and such a valuable and first of all, talent is just your God given. You're supposed to be doing this, right? I have no doubt in my mind. But I say I appreciate you as a human being and you being so supportive of my brand,
No
man.
doubt.
Like it's you know artists like yourself are a rarity because a lot of artists they don't know what to do next. And this leads me to my next question. What would you say is the biggest challenge, because you're an independent artist, correct?
Yes, sir.
What would you say is your biggest challenge as an independent artist
Oh man.
among all the ones that we know that exist? What would you
Yeah.
say is one of the biggest ones?
Man, I gotta say, like, I mean, like, aside from the ones we know, because, finances be tough.
Sure.
But that's part of the hustle. Like, that's part of it. Um, Man, just patience, I think, is, like, sometimes really hard,
Yeah.
with the process of being an independent. It takes a lot of patience, man. You have to have a lot of patience. There's a lot of, like, setbacks for comebacks, like, and that can always be daunting when, you live and breathe this, so you're thinking about it all day, all the time.
Right.
I'm in 9 to 5 settings, so I'm still there, like, investing in myself because I believe in myself. So when you're really pensive about that, it can be pretty anxious, but you have to have patience. And like that, I would say that's one of the toughest struggles.
Okay.
I mean, overall, I mean, is that, specific
I think that's
to where
I
you're,
think that's perfect. I think that's perfect because the next
for sure.
the second question that I have for you is
Yeah,
how can the music producers, not saying that you need help from them, but how
yeah,
can the producers that you're leasing beats from, how can they help your process? Because obviously, a lot of producers,
yeah.
it's on a person to person basis whether or not they want to promote the music and whatnot. But what are some ways that you feel personally, you Impact Lincoln, do you feel that a producer could help you more?
I would just say, like how I had said, my one thing was just communication, just better communication. Um, you know, Something that I know that you always do is just like a lot of specials and things like that, promotions and those are like
Right.
incentive things that like make people really engage and interact. Engagement is super important. As I said, communication is the same thing as communication. So
Yeah.
just being really personal with each artist and doing good business as always. Like so, I think that's super important.
Well, I appreciate you, man.
Yeah,
The
man,
last question is where can people find your music?
for
What is
sure.
the best way for them to connect with you?
All right, well, you can find my music on any streaming service. So, Spotify, Apple Music. You just search Impact Lincoln, Tidal, all of those streaming networks. And yeah, man, like I just actually released a single produced by Curtis King called
Hey,
Course of Love.
hey,
You
hey.
can check that out. Stream plug.
Shameless plug,
All
shameless plug.
right.
It's all good.
Shameless plug. Yeah, man. And you can find me at impact_Lincoln on Instagram, Twitter. Yeah, pretty much.
Well, we appreciate your time.
YouTube.
YouTube, yeah, for sure. YouTube, yeah.
Yes,
Y'all go check them
Impact
out because
Lincoln. I got mad
you got,
videos.
and
So
that's something that I can't stress enough, especially if there's artists that are watching this. visuals will set if you're trying if you're trying to get on the radar of producers that maybe they're a little bit more successful within a leasing game. Videos are what give you that ultimate separation from the herd, because most of my customers, they buy a beat, they rap on it, they might put it on SoundCloud, and then that's all there is to it. But there's so much more, like my former manager used to say, there's so much more meat on that bone. There's so much more that you can do with that, and I think that you're a prime example of that a lot of artists and a lot of producers can learn from. How to properly promote one piece of content before thinking about, I gotta release this new stuff, I gotta do this. Like, you found your own way to do it to where it wasn't annoying, it was very consistent, and you had a goal in mind. And I saw your audience was engaging, they were supportive. Even at the shows, you showed like you performing the song, all that stuff. All of it matters, man, and I gotta give the ultimate props to you. So thank you, man. You took some time away from, I know you and your family, and we are grateful for your time and whatnot. But thank you again, and
thank you for the opportunity, bro. I really hope, and I really thank you, because this is something that, again, you're providing a platform and an opportunity, and I think what you're doing for the community is a huge blessing. So I appreciate that.
Thank you, man. I think it's needed. I think the conversation is needed. I think there's a lot of producers out here who are making beats and they're scared to talk to the customers, and I think that's the most ridiculous thing in the world, because these folks are human beings and they're creatives. So you should be able to talk the creative language at the end of the day. But we appreciate you. So let me go ahead and
appreciate you, man. I'm a fan, bro. I'm a big fan.
Yo, you saw.
Curtis King, man. Curtis King.
It's my boy, man. Impact Lincoln has definitely been supportive and it's definitely consistent. So producers, as you saw in this episode, communication is probably the most important thing that you could ever pay attention to. There is no artist that is too big, too little. None of that stuff matters. Everybody should be treated with that equal respect. Get back to them. Have communication. It takes 5 minutes out of your day to respond back to a few different emails. And most of the time, if you've set your business up right, you could just send a Mediafire link or some kind of a link, a Dropbox link, and then they'll be very happy that you got to them in a timely manner. I always said, if you can't find yourself to be one of the most visible, just be the best customer service that you possibly can be. Be the fastest. Because if you're not making money, you got a whole lot of time, right? You got a whole lot of time to do it. So thank you once again for your time, my good sir. And we'll sign out from there. Curtis King of CurtisKingBeats.com. Peace. Please subscribe to the channel below, Curtis King of CurtisKingBeats.com.